Welcome you all here today. just want to give you the order of the program order for the events. We'll have tributes. I'll just say a couple of words first, and then we'll have tributes from Nicole, Anthea, Shannon, and then we'll have Cameron, Caitlin, Angela, Mike, and Michelle, Kerwin, Charmaine, and then Glenn Ho. When Cheryl called me on WhatsApp that fateful Sunday morning, I knew something was horribly wrong. But she never calls me, she always messages me, like everybody messages people. And when that phone rang that morning, I knew. And I said, Cheryl, when she told me the news, I was in total disbelief and shock. The words of Don McLean, I wonder if I cried. I remember I didn't cry that morning. Last Saturday morning, a week ago, I was riding my motorbike on Woodmead Drive, the R55, going up to Macro, when my phone rang, and through the earphones, and not iPods or anything fancy, they're actually hearing aid. The hearing aids, and they were just like better than iPods and all those fancy things, because you can hear, and then the fancy phone tells you who's calling. So it was a golfing buddy from Kyalami, Gary Loebscher. I wasn't able to take the call, so I missed it. But I stopped at the next traffic light and called him back. I heard about Ken LA FOY, and I want to offer you my sincere condolences on the passing of your buddy. And please pass my condolences to his wife and the family. Now the Chinese say LAU FOY, with the emphasis on the Lao because saying Lao, so we say LAU FOY. But the folk with some French Huguenot heritage, they say LA FOY. So I'm sure Cheryl and the girls must have many memories of people getting their names right? Shannon LA FOY. I said, Gaza, called him Gaza, his name was Gary. How do you know that Ken had passed away? And he replied that Kyalami were flying their flags at half-mast in Ken's honor. And that's when the tears welled up in my eyes. I've been in the corporate world for many years, 42 years. I know a bit about when and why flags are flown at half-mast. I'm so proud for Ken to have received such an honor from the club he loves so much. I'm really proud and I'm so pleased that Cheryl and Shannon decided, before I asked them, when I went to see them that day, I said, we're going to have it at Kyalami. And they came here and they saw, and this is a new facility. It's so beautiful. They've made it so good. As Cheryl said, it's just white and bright, not dark and dingy like the old place we used to have over there. I've known Ken since the late 60s, when we bumped into each other at the Chinese sessions. Okay, those of you who don't know session, doesn't matter. I'll explain later, privately, which were held at the Chinese school in Sibling, N Street. Ken had his offices down there once. The Canton restaurant in Chinatown, Wailoku across the road, and Makosa House. People know Makosa House? That's where Sibling currently stands today. And when I say bumped, I mean literally. Because Ken always stood at the entrance. And halfway down the stairs at the canton, there was a downstairs at Canton, he used to stand there, halfway down the stairs surveying the scene, obviously looking for Cheryl. Cheryl, that's another story, because she had many people looking for her. In much the same way as you see in the picture here. Now look at that picture. That's how Ken stood. Exactly like that. He was always in the way. And that's how I bumped into him. He was always immaculately groomed. Ken, you know, if he was in a corporate world, he would be kitted out in Hugo Boss three-piece suits. But he wasn't in a corporate world. He worked with corporate. But his clothing was remarkable. His shoes, the attention to detail, he was always immaculately groomed, Ken. And I remember that he liked wearing his trademark black turtleneck on a Saturday night. You guys know what's a turtleneck? I don't know if they call them polo necks or what do they call them now, but on a Saturday night, Ken always wore his black turtleneck. Stood there on the stairs, and I continued to tease him throughout the years. Those of you know, I teased him and he never got cross throughout the years. Cheryl and Denise became good friends after we found out coincidentally that both our families were traveling to the USA on holiday in December 1983. Wow, many of you weren't born. But to visit Ken's family and Denise's family respectively in Los Angeles. We arrived in New York on almost the same day, bleary-eyed, jet-lagged, you don't know the Big Apple. So we arrived there and we arranged to eat in Chinatown that evening. Denise and I walked from our crummy hotel on 33rd Street, near the Madison Square Gardens, to the swanky Hilton Hotel where the LAU FOYs were staying on 45th Street. And we decided to take a cab to Chinatown on Canal Street. Now, you guys do know that most cab drivers in the world, in all the major cities, are foreigners. And they hardly know the city. And those of you that use Uber will know that in Joburg. You can't tell a guy turn left. Yeah, he knows. The GPS says he must turn right. And he's going to go that way. But he'll get you there. So, with no GPS, no cell phones, no Google Maps those days, this Italian cab driver who spoke a smattering of English, he got lost. And he didn't know how to get across the canal. That's why they call it Canal Street, you know? Canal, Chinatown. But we saw the lights of Chinatown. So I said to Kenny, it's going to take all night. Let's walk. Let's get out of this cab and walk. He said, you sure? I said, I'm going to walk. We'll never get there with this one. So, you know, by this time, Nicole and Auntie are fast asleep. Those cabs could take 6 people at the back. You know, those yellow cabs are the big ones. They're fast asleep. And I said to Ken, okay, so Ken, you carry one, I'll carry the other. And we walk. Thank goodness our boys were still awake. Graham and Richard were awake and they could walk on their own. Shannon, you were a twinkle in Dad's eye. Only a twinkle. But what did you become? You became the apple of his eye. Oh, I've got this in Kyalami 22. By the way, when I look at their notes, I say, Jesus, how are they going to see their notes? Just before we left for the US, we enjoyed a bride at their home. I don't know if it was Bracken Downs or Brackenhurst. You've got to be careful, you know. You said Bracken Downs, no, it was Brackenhurst. It doesn't matter, somewhere there. And I started golf 2 years earlier. And Ken and I got around to talking about golf. And it's still my practice 44 years later. I have my golf clubs in the car. I still have them if anybody's interested just now. And we left the families at the poolside and we drove to the driving range. 10 minutes down Swat Poppies Road, and Ken got hooked on golf that day. See? And the rest is history. He even used to cycle to the driving range with a few golf clubs in tow. But these excursions ended when he lost his balance one day, fell off the bike, and had to walk home. Cheryl reminds me, I'm not sure if I said this, Cheryl, but I'm going to say it. Because you said, you always said it. Well, she said, I always said, Ken, listen to the tone, Ken, golf is an executive game. We don't go to the driving range on a bicycle. I'm not sure I said that, but I take Cheryl's word for that. While they were building their home in Santon, I don't want to get the area wrong, but while they were building their home in Santon, he used to travel 45 minutes from his home in Alberton here for our 7:06 tee off time every Sunday morning. And he did this for about 2-3 years while their home was being built. I'm sure that Glenn will elaborate more on those experiences a little later in the program. Okay, I'm done for a while. I'm sure you're all happy. Shannon said, will you say something? I said, how long have I got? Because I can talk forever. And now I'd just like to call on Nicole, Anthea, and Shannon for their tribute to their dad.
Cheryl's eldest daughter. Can you hear me? Yes. Standing here today feels surreal. Our hearts shattered into a million pieces on the 17th of August. Nothing could have prepared us for that day. My aunts and I living far away. This was the call that we've always dreaded receiving. Being thousands of miles away made it very hard to fully comprehend what was actually happening. But from the first painful hours, the love and support of family and friends here in Joburg surrounded Mom and carried us all until we could get home. We are so grateful for that, and to all of you, and we thank you from the bottom of our hearts. We are especially grateful to Shani, who immediately got on a plane from Cape Town and held Mom tight until we could get home. But now we are here together for Mom and for each other, and today we honor and celebrate Dad with all of you. It's almost impossible to sum up Dad in a few minutes, but with all the phone calls and messages that we've received in the last 2 weeks, a silver thread ran through. Dad was a gentleman who was kind, genuine, funny, knowledgeable, caring, humble, and as Uncle Morris said, always stylish. These are the exact qualities that come to our mind when we think of him. And it has been comforting to see them reflecting back to us by others. It reassures us that we weren't just biased because he is our dad. He truly touched people with the same warmth, humour, and authenticity that we knew and loved every day. But his presence was always felt. Dad was our rock and our provider. There was nothing that he couldn't do for us. He gave us every opportunity in life. and he built us a safe and happy home, both literally and figuratively. He designed and built 2 houses for our family, filling them with laughter, celebrations, and memories. One in the south, in Brackenhurst, Alberton. And then we migrated north to Sandton. Our homes were always open to friends and family. Little did he know that when he built the house in Sandton, that his studio would become the party venue, and the halfway house, and a place to sleep for many of our family and friends. Many of you have attended one of the numerous parties that we've had at 10 Sibling Place over the years, from kiddies parties to raucous teenage parties, our 21st and engagement parties, our grandparents' milestone, birthdays and anniversaries, Christmas, New Year, the list goes on. Dad was always up for the party. He was one charging the glasses and asking where's the music. Dad made sure everything was right, the right lighting, the ambience for the occasion, from floating handmade lights in the swimming pool to candelabras, enough seating and parking for all. Dad had a gift with his hands, from cars to bikes, home DIY, building and fixing. Dad would MacGyver anything and everything that he could, just to make things better for us. His biggest project was his loft that he built in the studio. When he built the house in Sibling Place in 1989, he always had another set of plans that he had drawn up for a loft. And he would say, one day I will get it done. He eventually started this on his own with our gardener Philip, rafter by rafter, tile by tile. Many trips to Builder's Warehouse, with the kids even, and I think that was just an excuse for him to get a booty roll. But he eventually completed this and he got his man cave that he could retreat to. But Dad has left a touch in every corner of our home. He loved technology and gadgets, always making sure we had the latest, from my silver BMX bike to the very first dial-up internet, where the Golden family was all surrounded by the screeching of the modem. Dad spoiled us along with my mom, always wanting the best for us. He loved his cars and especially his VW Kumbis, which took us on countless road trips and family holidays, Friday evenings to town, to window shop, Christmas lights. His fun car was a Lancia, which I got to drive. He was so proud of that car. He had a pot on the front lawn that he got at an auction. Hey, Mom? And he was so proud and he called us, come see what I got, come see what I got. I thought it was the loudest and the heaviest car. I was so embarrassed. But all my friends loved it and admired it. Pete got to drive it for a while, and he helped Dad to refurbish it and get it in such good condition that I think he was almost jealous that he let Pete drive it. He loved golf and photography, 2 passions which he shared with us in quiet, joyful ways. Unfortunately, it was only Ants who shared the same eye as Dad in both these departments. I do love taking photos. All my friends can vouch for that. I just don't have the professionalism as my dad. He loved his grandchildren deeply. He was always there for them. Pete and I were really fortunate to have Dad fetch and carry Cam and Kate from school every day, taking him to extramurals, spoiling him with snacks and food from Spa and Checkers, taking them on outings, and simply being present in their everyday lives. It was hard to leave South Africa and move to Sweden, as the kids kept Dad on his toes. But I'm so grateful that they developed that bond with Dad. We are so lucky to have been part of our children's lives and be the wonderful grandfather that he was to Cam, Kate, Emma, Eddie, Ray, and Koopy. They've each developed a special and unique bond with Dad, and will have many memories of him to hold dear to their hearts. Cam and Dad would analyse the Arsenal games during and after the game via WhatsApps and video calls. Kate would share her latest creations, from baking to sewing and artwork, with Dad, and we're so glad that they're able to keep the contact with Dad from so far away. After 7 years of being in Sweden, We were lucky enough to have Mom and Dad get on a plane and come visit us last year. It was a long trip for them, but we are so grateful that they managed to come and see the life that we've built for ourselves. He really enjoyed that trip, and it was even more special that he was able to be there for Kiang's graduation. A time that we'll cherish and remember forever. This visit meant the world to us, a reminder of his determination, his love, and the way he always puts family first. Dad loved his family, from Mom to us girls, our grandparents, his grandchildren, and his 3 son-in-laws. 3 sons who combined all have Dad's traits. Rod shares the love of golf and a good whiskey like Dad. Brian enjoys food and late night snacking, eating everyone's leftovers, and chilling at home just like Dad. And Peter and Dad being solution guys, the DIY, building and fixing home projects. Dad would always send Pete pictures over WhatsApp and chats of the latest project he was doing, and at times asking Pete for advice or simple approval that his train of thought was right. He had developed a special bond with his son-in-laws. Dad was calm, steady and wise. He really pushed us, but we always knew when he approved or not. He was a voice of reason in a family of girls that would be impatient and fiery, reminding us that tomorrow is always another day. He showed us how to live with simplicity, faithfulness, and quiet strength, and just to take it easy, slow down, and not to rush. So today we are here to say our own goodbye, and we want to thank you, Dad. Thank you for your love, your sacrifices, your wisdom and your calm strength. Thank you for the laughter and the adventures, and the countless ways you made life richer for all of us. Your presence is woven into our lives, our homes, in our memories, and in the people we've become because of you. We will carry your spirit with us in the way we live, in the way we love, and in the way we raise our children. You don't have to worry about Mom. We will take care of her. But all we ask is that you guide us and watch over us. Dad always had a signature saying of goodbye: Godspeed. A single word, one that carried his care and blessing. More recently it was a smile and love you guys. So with full hearts, we say the words you so often gave to us. Godspeed, Dad. May you go in peace, surrounded by all that love you, that you have left behind. Rest easy, and we will meet you again. Try not to keep this too long. Sorry. But I have more to say. Dad. I'm the most sensitive one, so please mind me. But I'll get through this. I can do this. Dad, I just cannot let you go. Open my eyes. Hang on, give me a second. That it's so far away makes it even more unreal. I'm always expected to come home to your warm embrace and big smile. Your big welcome home, Andy. Sorry. No. You're always happy to have us back home, eager to show us what new things you worked on, and always opening up your garden for the girls to explore and create sweet memories with them. Andy's fondest memory is flying paper airplanes from the loft area in the studio, and Emma's is of her cookroom, taking her and her cousins to the garden centre close to home to see the bunnies and the guinea pigs. Was it funny?
Dad gave us so many good childhood memories, too many to count, and we loved that those memories were then extended onto his grandkids. It was so easy for Dad to do. He always knew how to keep things exciting. I remember how he'd take Nix and I to Steers after school, later switch into McDonald's. When Shan came along, Dad loved his burgers. That simple routine brought so much joy. Dad would have Nix and I tag along with him to his studio 313 in N Street at times. But we didn't mind, as his studio was so big, we could roll around in his wheelie chairs and make his scaffold in our fun hangout. His props and equipment always made for some fun exploration. Seeing him photograph bedroom sets and fashion was so exciting. We'd love pressing the buttons to test the lighting and watching him in the dark room, seeing the magic as his photos appeared after the film sheets had been dipped in the magic solution. When Dad designed the Simmons house, this allowed him to work from home, creating his own studio space. Shan got to enjoy that space, using Dad's platforms as a stage and creating her own memories. Outside of his studio, Dad would still continue his work behind the camera, snapping photos and videos of the family. I guess this sparked our love for photography and the importance of taking photos. Dad had a love for America, while being far away came with its price of missing out on family time. It had its benefits too. We loved showing Mom and Dad where we lived and explored as much as we could. There were some places Mom was less interested in. So we explored some places with just Dad. Like the Grand Canyon, Monument Valley, Monterey, Pebble Beach, Yosemite. I even dragged him around New York, so that's quite funny. One time, he thought I was crazy trying to fit everything in, but I was just excited to be able to show this all, to see this all with him. And they were definitely special times. There was no doubt that Dad loved golf. Loved his girls. He did love golf. Okay. There was no doubt that Dad loved his girls, but Dad sure loved golf. We knew every Sunday was Dad's day, and we would not see him until much later in the afternoon. After having 2 girls of my own, I've realized that maybe that was really Dad's excuse to escape the madness. Dad would take us to the driving range quite frequently, and out of the 3 of us, I stuck it out. It helped that I met a guy that enjoyed the game too, and gave me incentive to become a better player. Living in Phoenix and North Carolina gave Rod and I the opportunity to treat Dad to many rounds of golf at places like Duke University Golf Club, Osprey Point Golf Course in Kiowa Island, which he really loved, Camelback Golf Course, and the most prestigious was the TPC Scottsdale. This particular experience included back-to-back games at the Stadium and Champions course. That made for a lot of golf in one day, but Dad really enjoyed it. I'm glad Mom eventually jumped on board and learned the game of golf, so we could both enjoy this as Dad. This all made up for the missed time together. You could say Dad's life was like a round of golf. It started with some angst, but you're feeling comfortable and great on the first hole. That is, meeting Mom, getting married, building their first home. Then as you get into the groove, you approach hole 4. The tricky par 5 with a dog leg left and water hazard. That's next to me. You muster through it and make it to the halfway house. Build up your reserve with a pie and Coke, Dad's favorite, and psych yourself up for the back 9. The 10th hole, just like the one here at Kyalami, you need to clear the water to make it onto the fairway. But a surprise shot into the water. That's Shannon. Actually, I always got in the water, not Dad. But you can't quit now. You must keep playing. More bunkers, more water, and that was Dad's fight with polymyositis, which he took in his stride and carried on like life was normal. But in the end, no matter what Dad had to endure during his game, he was happy to complete his 18 holes. ending with a handshake or a kiss on the cheek for me, and thanks for a good game. As long as Dad got to play his round of golf with good company, with some good shots, and just enjoying being outside and making it to the 18th hole, he was a happy man. He then hit to the 19th hole to enjoy that well-deserved refreshing drink. Dad played a good round. I wish we could have played more, but here we are, at the 19th hole, honoring your dad at his favorite place, his second home, Kyalami Country Club, with you all. Thank you all for joining us on this 19th hole, remembering a terrific guy. Dad, you'll forever live on in us through your humor, great memories, and certain ways that made you the unique and awesome dad that you are. We love and miss you so much. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Shannon, Ken and Cheryl's love, Lamaki, a spoiled sibling, and perhaps Dad's favorite youngest daughter. In photography, perspective gives an image depth and meaning. Photography was a large part of Dad's life, literally and figuratively. After his brother Shane introduced him to the camera club, it eventually became his livelihood. The pictures he took showed the way he saw the world, a thought process a little different to most, from different angles and perspectives. He saw beauty in things that we couldn't. One time telling me to look ahead and not at the floor while I was walking outside was the beauty of the world. I've never looked down since. I was fortunate during my school years to have Dad on a flexible work schedule, so he could pick me up from school most days and run me around to my extramurals. We would often go look at show houses after school. Every time we did that, I thought we were moving to a new house. But I now realize that that was just my dad dreaming up ideas for his dream home. Dad loved snacking, often just going for a drive, but would come back with a sneaky McDonald's or KFC Zinger wings. He enjoyed his biltong and chips and Danish pastries. Dad began a tradition with Haley, Ray and Cooper, always surprising them with a giant pretzel from the German butcher or Woolworths whenever we visited, which they now refer to as Kung Kung pretzels. Dad was an avid park runner, being one of the first in our family to do his 5 kilometers every Saturday, not only around Joburg, but also in Canada, Oregon, and North Carolina. He was determined enough to complete his milestone 100th park run in 2019, before he was forced to take a break. Most recently, he completed his 150th park run just 2 weeks ago, and in typical Dad fashion, he didn't tell anyone about this achievement, avoiding a big fuss over him. Dad is a man of few words, and I've always wondered why he never speaks about his feelings when it's so easy for my mom, sisters and me to show our fiery emotions. I assumed it was because we never let him get a word in. While it might be partly true, I've learned how admirable it is for a person to quietly observe or listen without judgment or interruption, and have the ability to give a compliment because they truly mean it. His compliments always went as far as, "It looks okay," and "The food was not bad." That usually means it meets Dad's stamp of approval. Dad is a man of few words in a room full of people, but one-on-one or around close friends, he'll engage in meaningful conversation, often overflowing with general knowledge and a silly and dry sense of humor. On my birth certificate, an administrative issue meant that my second name was recorded as LAU, and my surname was recorded as Foy. My dad might have forgotten this and assumed I was Shannon Simcoe when I got married. However, 2 Decembers ago, my dad found out that I hadn't changed my second name, and that LAU is still a part of my name. I'll never forget him saying, "Did you really keep LAU?" And him looking out of the window with a chuffed look on his face and said, "Wow," when I said, "Of course I did." over the last couple of months, we've lost loved ones so dear to us. And through this, I've taken the time to reflect on life and death. I've come to realize also how admirable it is for a person to be at peace with their life, and I've learned how different that peace can look. On Mom and Dad's recent trip to Cape Town for Haylor's birthday in July, we discussed again how I would like Mom and Dad to consider moving to Cape Town soon. Dad was always quite adamant that he'd never leave our family home that he built. But I was quite surprised and relieved when he suggested it could be a 3 to 5 year plan. In reflecting on the ease at which my dad agreed to this, I can't help but think that he was happy with all the things that he achieved in his life, content, knowing that he could rest. When we couldn't see danger around the corner, Dad could. Don't run, take it easy, and most recently, stay strong, were his go-to words of advice. We could go on about the many things that my dad is and always will be, but fierce protector of his girls and his family will always be in the foreground of the picture in my dad's life. As Haley Ray reminded me, red and yellow, and any color in the rainbow are Dad's favorite colors. So Dad, while we are all wearing black right now, and the world doesn't feel very colorful, we'll keep our head up while we walk this path until we see your rainbow at the end of the storm. Thank you, Dad, for loving us the most. Rest in peace, Daddy, and I love you forever. Just have one more thing to say. On behalf of my mom, sisters, and I, we'd like to thank our family and friends who have called and messaged us, visited us, and rallied around us with love and support over the last couple of weeks. To Uncle Mike, Jan Shami, who'll be in there for Mom since the phone call that changed our lives last Sunday morning. You've been a shoulder to cry on, while you've also been in need of a shoulder to cry on. To our special golden family, who we've shared so many highs and lows with over the years, or the decades. It's comforting to know that no matter what, we're always there for one another. To Mom's beautiful friends, you will know who you are. Mom was surrounded by so much love when us daughters couldn't be with Mom on Sunday morning. I was taken aback when I arrived home from Cape Town to a house full of aunties and uncles and food, ensuring Mom was taken care of, and we can't thank you enough for that. To my dad's best friends, Uncle Morris and Uncle Glenn, who've been with Dad since the 80s and created so many memories on and off the golf course. Thank you for your friendship with Dad. To our Matchsticks family, near and far, for sharing this deep grief with us, checking in with us. The 60/60 deliveries, the travels to be with us in Joburg, and the efforts to make sure that we're okay. Thank you. And lastly, thank you, Mom, for all that you've done and continue to do for us, and for Dad. Through Dad's battle over the last 6 years, you stood by him through the toughest days, ensured he attended his doctor's appointments and got the care he needed so that we could share another 6 years with him. 51 years ago, you and Dad made a promise to love one another through good times and bad. And as I said on your 50th anniversary, we know that the road hasn't always been easy. But neither of you gave up on one another. And we are so incredibly grateful to be loved by the both of you. It's a true testament to the commitment and love that you both shared, still share. We're proud to be yours and Dad's daughters, and forever will be. We know that this road ahead is uncertain, but we'll get through this together. We love you and Dad beyond measure. Thank you.
Okay, I call on Cameron and Caitlin to come forward. Tribute to this.
Hi everyone, we're Cameron and Caitlin, the eldest grandchildren of King. Being on the other side of the world, hearing the news that our Kunkun had passed away was one of the saddest days for us. We never expected to have to say goodbye to Kunkun so soon. Kunkun was a quiet man, but his wisdom and love spoke louder than words ever could. Throughout our childhood, he was there, picking us up from school, taking us to our extramurals, caring for us, and showing us his love in all the things big and small that he did for us. Even when we moved from South Africa to Sweden, the bond we shared with him never ended. Today, at 18 and 20 years old, we carry with us the lessons that he gave us, and we're extremely grateful that we got to spend a big part of our childhood with him. One thing that stood out to us was Kunkun's incredible knowledge of any subject. He always had an answer to any question we ever had, from why is the sky blue to where is Kathmandu. Whether it was showing us something by bringing out the globe or his encyclopedias, or when he learned how to use Google Earth, he always had knowledge to share, and was never a quick answer. But we love him for that and admire how much he could share with us. Sometimes boring, but most times interesting.
We also remember the fun times that we had with Kunkun. As we were thinking about what we should say, a lot of the fun memories came flooding back. Since the very first days of our schooling, Kunkun would be there to pick us up every single day after school. It was impossible to miss the sight of his iconic Honda CR-V pulling up to fetch us outside school. Never a day where he would be late waiting, leaving us waiting. You'll never forget the day he climbed into the back seat with us, completely unaware that he wasn't in the driver's seat, wondering where the steering wheel was. He had an alarm set on his phone at exactly 1:30 every day as a reminder to fetch us. We've been living in Sweden for 8 years now, but even years after moving to Sweden, we realized that he never turned that alarm off. It continued to ring every day, a small but touching reminder of the love and care he showed us, although he might have just been too lazy to remove the alarm. It wasn't always a drive straight home from school. There was often a stop along the way. We would buy fish and chips from Checkers, or sometimes it would be a platter of sushi from Pick and Pay. He said it was to treat us, but we know that he enjoyed it just as much as us. Sometimes he would take us to the driving range and we'd watch him hit a bucket of balls. He'd give us a chance to take a few swings and try to teach us the perfect form. Kunkun loved his golf, and him and Bobo even bought me a set of golf clubs for my 1 birthday. Unfortunately, I never took to the sports, but he would still come and support me for all of my cricket, football and hockey matches, even my karate tournaments.
If Kunkun wasn't driving us around, taking care of us, we would always be busy around the house, either building his loft, rearranging the furniture around the house, or redecorating his pool with exotic fountains, rockeries, and pot plants. Now and then we'd hear the gentle landing of a golf ball on the grass as he perfected his swing in the garden, or the odd plop in the swimming pool, where we would then fish them out for him. Kongo would never get angry at us, even when we did the most mischievous things, like can cracking eggs in the flower pot in the front entrance, or me sprinkling baby powder in every corner of the house, leaving him very puzzled trying to figure out where the smell was and where it was coming from.
Kongkong was the most loving grandfather, and although it was hard to leave him behind when we moved to Sweden, we were often in contact with him. I'll miss not being able to share the Arsenal games with Kongkong, all the messages on WhatsApp about how terrible they would play, or recently about how close yet so far they were to winning the Premier League. Kongkong, we're so happy that you and Bobo could come and visit us in Sweden, and to see where we live, and to even celebrate my graduation with me. We love you very much, and you'll forever be in our hearts. We're sure you're watching over us, enjoying your KFC Zinger wings with extra Tabasco right now.
Rest in peace, Kongo, until we see you again.
Go on, Angela. And Michelle now, please.
Hi everybody, I'm Angela, number 2 in the family. Ken, where do I begin? I still can't believe that we're having to do this. You and I exchanged WhatsApp messages on August the 11th, and this is just too much information, but we were both comparing our tummy issues that we were having at the time, and I was concerned about you. And you replied and you said, oh, it must have been the old food that I was eating. So I said, well, stop eating the old food. Our family all know how Ken would look in the refrigerator, eat all the leftovers, and leave the empty plate in the fridge. It would drive Jay crazy. Today we're here to celebrate an amazing guy who was our brother. Ken, you've been part of our lives. We were growing up, I must have been about 40 years old. You were always the cool guy, always 23 years old, whenever I asked you a question on your birthday. You were so talented behind the camera. And you captured so many photos of us kids, of the nieces and nephews and the grandkids, and the memories that will be there forever. On one of my trips home, there was a flood in your studio, and you brought out all of the work that you did for Edgar's, and it was on the floor, drying off. And I took photos of all of those. And it will always be very special of the time we spent together. You taught me to appreciate such great music. You loved Simon and Garfunkel. I remember the poster you had in Juliana Court. I used to love the afternoons you, Jay, and I spent at Uncle Shan's shop in Chinatown, where you'd be recording music on an 8-track. The songs that make me think of you are My Sweet Lord, What is Life, and Santana's Black Magic Woman. When I started golfing, you were so patient. On my visits home, we'd go to World of Golf, and I've had quite a few rounds here at Kyalami with you. There was one water hole, I don't know what number, I think it's a par 3, and I could never clear the water. The one time I did, and I just stood there and I said, Kev would be so proud of me. And Ken said, I'm proud of you. So you're always so encouraging. You had a quiet sense of humor, always funny. Like the odd time, Kevin and I did well in one of our ball competitions, and I tell you, Ken, we came first, you'd laugh and say, well, did anybody come second? And then he'd say, just kidding. We are going to miss you terribly. Ken said to me, just on when we were leaving to fly out to South Africa, he says, I'm going to really miss Ken when I get home because he was always my buffer. You know, we king families when we get together. Ken, we will look after Jay, and you'll always be in our hearts and our conversations when we sit around and talk about the good old days. You always ended off your WhatsApp messages with thanks for caring and love you. So Ken, all I can say right now is I love you back.
I haven't prepared a speech. I just wanted to talk from my heart. There's so much. Mine goes back to years ago, when I was maybe, I don't know, 8, 9, when Ken used to get the bus on down Baker Street to Donfontein, walk to our house, look for Jay. We thought we were telling him she's out, but he's checking behind the door. And then get in my bicycle and saying, come, and he put me on the crossbar and cycled down to Juliana Court and I to ride back because it was too lazy to walk. But yeah, Ken, as we all know, I mean, one of the best photographers. He was so clued up in everything. Like, one of the first memories I ever have is, I'm sure, giving my age away here, when Wilkinson swords, the blades came out, and Ken was so proud of this, where they were trying to get that pack, like a 5-pack of blades, with a glint on the edge to show sharpness. And people tried, different photographers, whatever tried. Eventually Kenny got it. And he said he even tried cutting on foil stars and things like that, plucking it on. And then he hit on an idea, and he took a cardboard, sprayed it black, punched a hole through, and he put a bright light on the other side in a dark room. Took a photo of that light. And that they bought. It was quite incredible. But I used to enjoy going to his N Street studio, then to Crown Mines, Ekerdale. And I used to admire all his work, and so interesting. I always remember the one time where he hated working with models, but he would tell me, you see these with the see-through bras, they put base on the nipple. I said, okay, can I be your base man? He never ever took me up on that offer. But there's so much memory with Ken and Jay. When they took me with to Swart Ruggins, Ken was doing a still shoot for Elmo de Wit. Elmo de Wit Films, one of the local producers. And we were lucky we met all those days the South African celebs, Hans Strydom, Sybil Coetzee, Rika Sennett. And Sybil Coetzee was a cute blonde, and she had a crush on Ken. But Jay, Ken still stayed faithful. And he loved you. I know we rag you, but yeah, so much. And the one thing I do want to share is, on that fateful day, Jay called me 6:20 in a panic, and I raced over with Yah. The pyramids were there already, and well, the one, and to see Ken lying on the floor like that, it was like, it was just totally, we didn't, you know, then the guy called for backup and that, but prior to that, because I'd said to Yah, to family, to Charmaine, and that, say, Ken's worrying me, he doesn't look well lately. And when I dropped Damon, I'm off at school, which was like about 2 blocks away from J&K, I tended to pop in every morning. Just, Ken, how you doing? And he was always, no, I'm fine, no, I'm feeling better. That was Ken. You know, he never wanted to worry anyone. And but that Friday morning, he was battling with this fox air inhaler thing, and he says to me, yes, your sister can trap me. Now for Moy, for the overseas people, not South Africans, trap means to put pressure on. And but that morning with Ken, when we realized that he's gone, he looked so peaceful and almost like with a smile on his face. And I said to him, I had to make light of it. And I said, it's like, phew, thank God, I'm not being trapped anymore. But yeah, Kenny was maybe the brother I never had. And I mean, we all respect him so for what he did for mom and dad. It was amazing. And he would take them to Wimpy, he would take them wherever. He just had so much time for them. And that's where we were saying now, he decided now it's easier to go back and look after mom and dad upstairs than to look after Jay. The girls can take care. But no, yeah, the house is empty. Miss you.
Hi, I'm Michelle, the youngest sibling. This moment has come far too soon, at least 20 years too soon. With a 10-year age gap between Jay and I, Ken was part of our family from before I even started school. As baby of the family, Ken was there throughout my growing up years, tolerating the spoiled brat, as I was often called by my siblings. One of the fondest memories I have was every Sunday morning, when the rest of the family just wanted to sleep in, Ken would come tapping on our bedroom window. And what felt like the crack of dawn, I said, come on, dude, you know? But he would be armed with the roast duck, which we call suya, and a barbecue pork fillet called char siu. Oh, and the Chinese version of fat cook, I don't know what we call it here now. Oh, and of course the Sunday Times for Dad. These decadent food items were only available on a Sunday morning from Chinatown at the bottom of Commission Street. Ken must have been there like at 6 a.m. in the morning to be the first in the queue, to always get the biggest and the best portions to feed all 7 of us. I went everywhere with Jay and Ken. I probably was the birth control back in the day. I got very protective of the space in the middle of the back seat of Ken's red two-door Mazda Rotary, where pre-seatbelt days, I could sit forward and have a bird's eye view of the road ahead. I didn't want Ange and Mike to come with, and it was always a case of only us three for many years, until Nicole came along and then I had no option. Some weekends I very sulkily allowed Ange and Mike to join us. Sunday afternoons, Ken would take us through to Kenton Park. We would go to the donut shop. And I'd be mesmerized watching the fresh donuts be churned out on the belt and popped into our little takeaway box. Ken also introduced us to simple plain salted chips, crisps, with biltong slices mixed in. What a treat, and to this day, it's still a firm family favorite. Those were certainly the good old days when calories didn't count and words like exercise, gluten-free and intolerance, lactose intolerance was a foreign language. Armed with all these lovely snacks and cold drinks, he'd take us to what felt like the end of the runway at Youngsman's Airport, or now OR Tambo. And we'd sit and watch all the planes arrive and take off for ages, and we'd all dream of one day being able to be up in the sky too. Other days when Mom and Dad joined us, we'd go to the big water fountain near Galuli's interchange and picnic there. Ken had also bought a combi after his Mazda, and our family bus often carted all of us wherever we needed to go. Ken, you did David Cromer and your folksy boats very proud. Ken's love of photography captured many beautiful family moments over the years. If you haven't picked up by now, our whole family loves taking photos. I mean, really love taking photos. Anne just mentioned Ken's love of music, and I recall Neil Diamond's album called Hot August Night being a regular on our outings. Ken was so stoked with this LP that he bought, but he had forgotten it on the back shelf of his Mazda one weekend, and the whole LP just melted. I don't think he ever bought another LP again. Ken, thank you for silently being there for all of us, supporting us no matter what we're going through for the past almost 60 years. Ken has just been there for every single family member throughout. You're caring, creative, humorous, extremely patient, respectful presence is and will continue to be sorely missed. Thanks to you, we have a ton of awesome memories captured on film, possibly a lot more on slides, but we can look back with so much love and gratitude. Rest in peace, Ken. Rejoice with being reunited with all your family, who also left us far too soon. Your flame will live on forever. Whenever you ended at a chat, be it in person or on the phone or in a message, you'd always say, thanks, love you. And so Ken, until we meet again, goodbye Ken, thanks, love you.
Time for Kerwin and Shani to come forward, please.
Hi everyone, I am Uncle Ken's oldest nephew. I probably should have written this down as opposed to having this on my phone. I'm not as young as I thought I was, so bear with me. I didn't think I'd be standing here today, honestly. I always thought there'd be more time to spend with him, time certainly to bring my daughter Ruby to South Africa. And I always knew that experience was going to include Russell. But as the case is, time is no guarantee. So as I reflected on the last few days, a few things came to mind about my childhood and time with him. Obviously, the family connection, my dad, second eldest, being the youngest. There was we talked about it all morning, the connection to photography. My dad was a photographer. By some way or form, maybe made the introduction, but really it was Uncle Ken, whose like skill and talent that skyrocketed him to a whole other level. He was, because he was the youngest and my sister was the oldest, he was that older brother that she never had. And to bring that full circle, Anthea is the young little sister I never had. So it's more than just this family connection. It's like entwined in some other way. Now to the less endearing connection I have with him, our temper. Not now, not when we got older, but when we were young. I had a really, really bad temper. A lot of door slamming, a lot of yelling, and the earliest memory in connection to him was when my parents would say, "Geez, you're just like your home son." And he was like, so then I'm like, okay, this is not the best connection, but it's something that binds us together. Fortunately, we grew out of it, I think. Because he became this calm, cool, collected guy that I always pictured for the rest of my life, or the rest of my adult life. The next thing that came to mind was their wedding. Now this wedding was epic. I mean, it was Camelot, it was the royal wedding, it was the biggest thing, and I always thought it was this to me, but when I started talking to all my cousins, it literally was the biggest moment of all of our childhood, certainly of our time in South Africa. I mean, everybody was a part of it. Some were part of the honeymoon, which probably wasn't ideal. Like my cousin Wendy remembers, kind of like Auntie Mish, being in the middle. Probably not the best place to be for a newlywed couple. But yeah, Sean's mom with her involvement in dressmaking, corsages being made, everybody was in the wedding. Literally, this was, I kid you not, the biggest memory I have being in South Africa when I was little. But what comes across in the photos of him at the wedding was that calm, cool, collected guy. And that brings me to like another memory. He was always the one with the quiet demeanor. At family gatherings, he wasn't the loud, boisterous one. I mean, if anything, I always tell my friends this, I'm considered the loud lad, the American. So, and they're always like, yeah, you're so chill. I'm like, compared to my family and compared to my uncle, I'm loud and obnoxious. But he was never the center of the conversation. He was always the fringe of the crowd, taking it in, and then speaking only when he needed to, or wanted to say something. And he was, and it's come up earlier as well, so efficient with his words. I mean, he could say so much with a couple words. And this was something that really, obviously the memory of the wedding, his temperament, those are the things that didn't carry us through in my relationship with him. It was those quiet moments of time, just the quips, the one-liners, the poignant words that said so much and really didn't waste a breath on his part. Visits to LA, first time he came to visit us, my wedding, right before my daughter was born, and I know Ruby is watching now in LA, it's 2 a.m. or something. The quips and one-liners always find a way to convey his thoughts minimally. Just the other day, my wife, who only met him a couple times, said it eloquently. Uncle Ken was a man most comfortable showing his love for others quiet, consistent ways. He had a kind heart and a quick wit. And that brings me to his heart, his consistency, his reliability, and his presence, and his thoughtfulness. From those early days, carting his nieces to and from school when they're all living at Juliana Court, he was reliable. Always there, car waiting, ready to go. He might have liked driving a little too much, because at Juliana Court one day, Uncle Thomas found the Kumbi gone. Where did it go? No idea, the space vacant. Took it without permission, but eventually they found him down at a friend's house, but that might have been one of his few momentary lapses of being reliable Kenny boy. He even had my back when, in Chinese culture, maybe 100 days on this earth or a big event. So it was that gathering, and my sister, who decided not to participate in the celebration, was sitting outside. He came up to her, again, simple words that conveyed the fact that she was slacking off in her duties as an older sister. He came up to her, looked down at her, and said, "You should be." That's all, and walked away. So, to years later, the care, compassion, thoughtfulness, and reliability extends to taking care of all of our family affairs. In South Africa, once all of us, all the older siblings that left, he was that steady presence during all the moments of loss and the strength that was needed for everybody back home. We thank you from the bottom of our hearts for all that you did here back home. There's so many other things that come to mind, but I try to keep it brief and end it here with a couple of moments in time. So I had the pleasure of playing with him here years ago. I think it was 1999. I thought I played a lot of golf back then, but it didn't compare to how much time he spent on the course. But it was a great day out here. Not because I played well. I played horrible. I blamed it on these were his shoes, his clubs. But yeah, it was horrible. It wasn't until about the fifth hole I finally hit a good tee shot. He didn't say anything the whole time until I hit that tee shot and he says, "There it is." Okay, I guess I'm good. But I wasn't. Water hazards, traps, hitting my ball near that live fence, and I'm like, why on earth is there a live fence on a golf course? But afterwards, he literally didn't, and he just kind of did what you said. Nice round, handshake, took a photo out there on 18. And then we got home, and I don't know who it was, might have been Anthea, he said, "How was golf?" And again, in a simple, direct, poignant, and efficient way, Kerwin had a rough day. That's all he needed to say, because it really captured everything that happened that entire round. So just another one. When it came out to our wedding, which was so special, after that we drove up to San Francisco, Anthea, myself, and I'm sorry to show up. I know you missed going to San Francisco, but you're welcome anytime. So on the drive, music, let's come on. So I'm going to throw some music in, and back then we were still using CDs. I throw in Springsteen, which Springsteen CD. Now I love Springsteen. And I turned to him, and I'm like, "Is this okay?" No, I didn't even say that, I kind of just pointed. And then he looked at me, and he goes, "It's all right." So I go, "Okay, no Springsteen." Take it out, put in my other favorite, Eagles, Jackson Browne. But this was a Jackson Browne track. And I looked over and he said, looked at me, "This is good." Okay. let's roll. Up Pacific Coast Highway we went on our way to Pebble Beach. Simple, just, you know, efficient. I could learn from them. And then finally we get to San Francisco, and we just so happen to be there with this air show. I mean, the ultimate, like I said, I love the States. This ultimate spectacle of, you know, the stereotype of America. Fighter planes flying over the bay, Golden Gate Bridge, beautiful, you know, and just symbolic. We're at the top of this bluff, and he stands up there, he's watching, he's taking it all in. Again, turns to me, lovely. That's it. But he didn't have to say anything else. I got the name. So looks like we've run out of time for these small snippets and moments. Please give hugs to Danya, Ina, baby Dorothy, and Cecil. And of course, home. And especially to my dad. I hope you're having a great time up there. With love, I miss you.
Hello, I'm Charmaine. Uncle Ken's niece. Out of the cousins, I think I was the closest to him. There are many words to describe Uncle Ken. One of them is wise. Determined. And someone who's a lifelong learner. I'm a person that often rushes around. And he's often said to me, as he said to his daughters, slow down. There's no need to rush. Occasionally, I have dinner with him. This is usually when Auntie Cheryl was away, or she's playing marches with her friends. We would have dinner together, and after dinner, I automatically just get up and want to clear the table. And he would say to me, every time, sit down, relax. There's no need to rush. You can clean the dishes afterwards. So when I find myself rushing around, and when work gets hectic, I hear my uncle's voice reminding me, there's no need to rush. Take some time to relax. Wise words indeed. Uncle Ken enjoyed parkrun, and as Shannon said, he's done his 150th one just recently. He had always been a very strong runner before his illness. But even despite his illness, he was determined to get back to strength and continue to participate in parkrun. So although he couldn't run, he decided that he was going to walk. But his walking was by no means slow. He walked with strong, determined strides and at consistent pace. Sometimes I would decide not to run and walk along with him, and often I had to find myself catching up with him because he was moving so fast. And at those moments I would think, Uncle Ken, slow down, there's no need to rush. But of course I didn't say anything. I didn't say these things to him because for me it was good to see how strong he was. My uncle and I shared a common interest in travel and appreciation of nature. His general knowledge totally amazed me. He knew a lot about the places we would visit, and even the places that we did not visit. There were many memorable trips that we had gone on together, but two stand out in my mind. The one trip was to the Saudi River Sun, to Auntie Cheryl, Coquette and I went in, I can't remember when it was, a few years ago. At the Saudi River Sun there is a hippo pool and a river, and during the early evenings we'd go down, observe wildlife, take photos, and then we'd share and talk about the photos that we had taken. On another trip that also has very fond memories for me is the one that I did with my Coquette and Nephew to Monument Valley at Yosemite National Park. So in Yosemite National Park, it's a vast, beautiful area with granite cliffs, waterfalls and valleys. And there's a part of the park where there's a massive rock formation with a sheer cliff face on the one side, and it's called the Half Dome. At sunset, when the setting sunlight hits the rock, it can go a fiery red. I have fond memories of us, Uncle Ken and I, waiting patiently for the sun to set in this beautiful landscape, hoping to witness something amazing and to capture this perfect photo. My uncle has always been there for me. On the day he passed, he looked peaceful and had a smile on his face. It was as if, at the time of crossing over, he saw people that he knew. And I'm thinking, it's his parents, his brothers, sisters, Uncle Arthur, and Uncle Kathy. So we will miss you, Uncle Ken, but we draw comfort in knowing that you are with people that you love.
Okay, we call on Glenn Hill now, please, to pay tribute to Ken. What font is that?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Glenn, a long friend of Ken and Morris. We've been friends since the early 80s. So I just want to share some of my memories, our memories. There we go. Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Cheryl, Nicole, Anthea, Shannon, for asking me to say a few words about our dear friend Ken this morning. It is indeed an honor and a privilege. First and foremost, Denise and I would like to extend our deepest condolences to Cheryl and family for the loss of her husband, father, grandfather, father-in-law and brother-in-law, but to us a dear friend, a golfing partner, but most of all an exceptional human being. Ken, my good friend, you will be sorely missed. And I mean this from the bottom of my heart. I look out onto the magnificent fairways of our club, yours, Maury, myself, and not to forget the late Uncle Jack Fisher. And I think back on the wonderful times we had. We played a one-rand skins game on a Sunday morning, and afterwards had a beer and shared a plate of boerewors and chips, and sometimes even biltong. Morris reminded during the week, 7:06 Sunday morning of the 10th, guys, don't be late. For more years than I can remember. We met on the patio just here for free coffee and a 2 rand sandwich. Sunday morning at 6:30, come rain or shine. I called Murray back in 1985 when I joined the club and asked him if I could join you guys for a game. And you all welcomed me with open arms. And the rest is history and many fantastic memories. Ken, you have lived through 8 decades, 2 centuries, and 2 millennia. To put it into context, by the grace of God, you were with Jay for at least 6 of these decades, if not 7. And to emphasize it even further, we have been golfing buddies for 5 of these. That's a long time to get to know someone. And it has certainly been a hell of a ride and a privilege, my good friend. You have won many a competition, especially on the CGA back in the day. We were even known as the Kyalami kids. You and I even won a biddable medal competition at this very club, which will forever remain with me. So to put it mildly, you could sure swing a club. Golfing aside, my mind goes back particularly to the fun karaoke evenings at Maury and D, and how Jay and I used to serenade one another. Hey Paula, in the most melodious way. We have been to many double 10 balls, debutantes balls. Yes, your girls and my girls were all Debs, and community fundraising events, too many to mention. We have seen each other's children grow up, get married, and have their own children. We have been on golfing getaways and to one another's homes for many braais, lunches, dinners, and get-togethers. And we've had a bit too much to drink on some occasions. Yes, one could say we were almost brothers, I guess. I'm so grateful we got to see Ken on my 70th birthday. Thanks to Maury's organising skills, the 6 of us, including my sister-in-law Louisa, celebrated at the Country Club Johannesburg. Who knew that was the last time I would see him in person? The last time I spoke to Ken was via WhatsApp. He wrote to ask me about my health and said he was in Cape Town visiting Shannon and the grandchildren. As mentioned before, Ken always ended his phone calls and messages to us. Love you guys. And it always brought a smile to my face. Ken has left a big hole in our lives. And you'll be sorely missed. His passing has left me very, very sad. And just know that he has left us with many wonderful memories. And I know that he would want our special friendship to continue. Jay, if you need a friend to speak to, we are a phone call away. And if it's company you need or a holiday by the sea, we are 40-minute flight away. Jay, Dix and I will always be here for you. Meanwhile, my good friend, enjoy the golf wherever you are. And until we meet again.
I went to visit Ken in the hospital when he was first diagnosed with his illness about 6 years ago. It was during the day, and we happened to be alone on that occasion. And I asked him if he would like us to say a few prayers together. He agreed. We only said 3 prayers. the Our Father, the Hail Mary, and the Glory Be. And we felt really good after that. When it was time for me to leave, he reached into the metal bedside cabinet that all hospital rooms have. And I don't know why this subject has come up so much this morning. And he pulled out a packet of biltong from the many packets he had stashed there. Handed it to me and said, "Enjoy, Meneer." Now, he always called me Meneer. I don't know why. He never told me why. I'll never know why. And if somebody knows why, don't tell me, it's fine. I will remember Ken with that. He always called me Meneer. Ken, Cheryl, Glenn, the two Denises, and I enjoyed countless meals together over the past 40 years. And for many years now, Ken would never start eating until grace had been said. And I was always embarrassed because you heard it again, his silent, strong son, he'd always just glance at me like, "You must say grace." And I would dedicate that on many occasions to Glenn, to Denise, and say, "You guys give it a go." And Ken would never start eating until grace was said. Would Denise please come up now just to read a passage from the Bible in Ken's memory for me?
So I so much wanted to pay tribute to Ken, our dear friend, and I wasn't quite sure on what would be the best way to do so. So I decided to look for a passage from the Bible and randomly opened my Sunday missal on the page where Psalm 100 is displayed. When I read it, I knew immediately that this was a fitting way of thanking God for Ken's life. Psalm 100, a hymn of praise. Sing to the Lord, all the world. Worship the Lord with joy. Come before him with happy songs. Acknowledge that the Lord is God. He made us and we belong to him. We are his people. We are his flock. Enter the temple gates with thanksgiving. Go into its courts with praise. Give thanks to him and praise him. The Lord is good. His love is eternal, and his faithfulness lasts forever.
Ken LAU FOY. May the angels lead you to paradise, and may the martyrs and saints greet you upon your arrival there, and may God grant you eternal rest. And may your soul, Ken LAU FOY, and the souls of all the faithful departed, through the mercy of God, rest in peace. Amen. I ask you now to all stand up, if you don't mind, and to bow your heads, and to join hands if you wish, as we give thanks to God. Heavenly Father, we thank you for bringing us here together to say goodbye to Ken and to console his family. And we ask that your mercy continues to shine on his family. We ask that you grant us all safe passage home today, and especially safe passage home to those who have traveled from all over South Africa and the rest of the world. We thank you for the food that you put on our tables daily. We ask that you bless the hands who have prepared our food today, and for this food we say together, bless us, O Lord, and these thy gifts, which we are about to receive from thy bounty through Christ our Lord. Amen. In the name of the Father, the Son, Holy Spirit. Amen. Okay, thank you very much. That ends the proceedings. Tea, coffee, refreshments will be served. For those of you who require something a little stronger, there's a cash bar available. The toilets are over here. And we have the venue. Wow, I told you, Shannon said, how long are you going to talk? I didn't talk much, Shannon. Everyone else did. We have the venue until 1 o'clock, so that's enough time for us to share memories about Ken and to enjoy ourselves. Thank you.